Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things could get totally radical. Now today I will be welcoming a former child actor who's out there and still going. And no, it's not Ron Howard, it is Robbie Rist. Robbie Rist, you all know him as Cousin Oliver on the Brady Bunch. I think the last 6 episodes or so he was Cousin Oliver on the Brady Bunch. And he went on to do a couple movies with another guest of mine, James Polikoff, The Memory of Us. He is my brother. And then he guest starred on so many great shows, everything from The Bionic Woman to The Mary Tyler Moore Show to Galactica 1980. And he's been in movies like The Time Crystal, which Ron Howard did direct. And then he did Iron Eagle. And then he did voiceovers. And he's still doing voiceovers, but he did them for the Saturday morning cartoon Kid Video with another guest of mine, Susan Silo. And then he did the voice of Michaelangelo in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies. Hey, look, it's Raph. Yeah, a little too Raph. That's his line. And I can't wait to have him on today. So, here is my interview with Robbie Rist.
Hello.
Hey, Robbie, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Great. Thank you for having me on.
My pleasure. It's such a great honor. Thank you for taking the time today.
Most of us aren't really doing a whole lot these days.
No, we're not. Yeah, how are you holding up during this time?
Oh, fine. I mean, my wife and I have, we've been shut-ins for years anyway. So, that really, life itself, outside of the fact that I don't play any gigs lately, most life has sort of, remained the same. I'm, usually ensconced in my studio and I'm just making stuff, so.
Yeah. Well, I've been shut in most of my life, too. I just want to get out now, It's
Well, yeah,
so
I mean, I understand. I mean, I get it, but also, no vaccine. No, those are two very large words right now.
Mm-hmm. They sure are. They sure are. So, going back in time, you were a child actor. At what age did you start gravitating toward acting?
I never didn't. I was a show-off kid. I was putting on plays for the dog and things like that. So,
yeah.
I was just kind of always a show-off kid. And I started telling my parents that I was really into those Universal monster movies, the ones that they're trying to embarrassingly reboot now. And, Mummy and the Werewolf and all that stuff. And I was obsessed with those movies, and at a certain point I started telling my parents I could soar. I'm like, I want to be in a monster movie, and they're like, yeah, of course you do. And then by the time I got to about 6, it became, I just want to be in a movie. And they thought they would take me on an audition, a cattle call, and, I would see how horrible the whole process was, and I wouldn't want to do it. And, I got the job. So, my parents, they knew they were in trouble. They wanted a doctor. They ended up with a performer.
Yeah. So you did a lot of school plays and community theater and then later commercials?
I went pro almost immediately. So I did that first thing. It was for some, I don't know what it was. It was some student film, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got that, and then, I'd done a couple of things, and my parents just sort of started looking around for agents, and, first agent that saw me took me, and I started working almost immediately, and then, by the time I did the Brady Bunch show in the sort of 73, something like that, I mean, I'd already done, 100 commercials, and I'd, done a bunch of one-offs. I was on Love American Style, and, all these different things, and, it was, I immediately immediately went pro. I mean, I did plays at school and stuff like that, but mostly because, I was at school. What else was I going to do? And it was not in the service of, getting better at acting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You born and raised in L.A.?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So how did you get cast as Cousin Oliver on the Brady Bunch?
It was like anything else. It was an audition process. They had me in before the Oliver character. They were doing a spin-off show with Ken Berry called The Kelly Kids.
Oh, yeah.
And so, there were two kids in that, and I read for that, and they liked me, but Ken Berry's a brunette, and I, alas, am not. So, they passed on that. But then when they brought this character up, they had me in, and, the rumor I hear anyway, I mean, I don't know, I was 9, so, the story was whatever it was then, but, there was something like 500 kids that read on it.
Mm-hmm.
And out of all that, here we are talking about it, lo, these many years later.
Yeah. Were you already a fan of the show, though?
Truthfully, I was kind of more of a $6 million man guy, but, I definitely didn't hate it.
Mm-hmm. Because the show had been on for about 4 or 5 years up to that point. Did you get a sense?
Mostly my parents ran the TV.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, where are the grown-ups here? We're watching what we're watching. So ordinarily, I was kind of watching what they were.
Mm-hmm. Did you get a sense, though, that everyone was pretty much over it by then?
No, I was 9. I just was, great to be working and, hey, I've seen these people on television. That was about the extent of it, Yeah. I didn't really hear about all the agita until years later.
Yeah. Because that episode where Greg's hair turns orange, that was incidentally the final episode, right?
Maybe?
Yeah.
I'm not completely sure. As I remember, I thought we shot the spy one last.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not completely sure. Again, I was 9, so, a long time ago.
Because it wasn't planned that it was going to end. It just ended.
Yeah. They talked about going another year, and then really come September, nobody even really talked about it. They just kind of dropped the show.
Yeah, that's terrible when that happens.
The day, though, before they had final episodes and all of that, you know what I mean? Usually a final episode of a show was pretty rare, where now everything has an arc. So there will be a final episode that's already written.
Yeah, because Mary Tyler Moore was just a few years away from it doing the final show.
Right, exactly, yeah. It starts a little later.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Do you still talk to a lot of the cast members?
I haven't in a little while, but, the convention industry has sort of taken a nosedive, so
yeah,
that's usually, I would see them at events and things like that mostly. There wasn't, Susan and I were pretty tight for a while, but, in the last few years we haven't really talked much, so.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I'm worried about the future conventions because they are so awesome,
Oh yeah, no, I mean that industry's going to have to reinvent itself if it wants to continue, at least up until there's a vaccine.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You did a movie called "The Memory of Us" with Will and Ellen Greer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I interviewed James Polikoff earlier this year. What? Yeah.
What? He's alive?
He is. Yeah.
Oh shit! I'd like to send that dude an email. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, if you want his email, I can give it to you. He's a very interesting guy, say the least.
What do you mean?
Oh, okay. So for the first probably hour of the interview, everything was great, and then I asked him about this very key scene in this one movie he did in the early '80s called The Vows, and he went a little cray-cray on me, telling me that that scene wasn't in, that there wasn't a scene like that in the movie, and I was like, no, there was, and then he just got aggressive, and then I was just like, okay, let's skip that, and then we talked for another 10 or 15 minutes after that. It was strange, and I was a little scared. Yeah.
Well, he's not a young dude. dude anymore. So
Yeah.
He's got to be in his 70s or 80s.
Yeah, he's in his 70s. Yeah, maybe he
Yeah.
got a little defensive there or something, but it wasn't my intention. I wanted to know why that scene existed because it was so bizarre. It was a horse race on a beach, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what was that experience like though? Working with him, if you remember.
You kidding? I got to go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
No Memory of Us. No, actually, Kovac didn't do Memory of Us. Kovac did He Is My Brother.
But he wrote The Memory of Us.
No, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, because he told me, he became friends with the Gears and, worked with them a couple of times and stuff, but he did write that. Yeah, I think that was his first foray into filmmaking.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, because I did something that he, I guess, wrote and directed and produced, I think. No, he produced and wrote. It was called He Is My Brother. It's a Bobby Sherman.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was his thing. He had Edward Dmytryk, he directed it.
Guy who directed the Cane Mutiny. Yeah.
Yeah, Edward Dmytryk was, by the time we met him, he'd been out of the business for a bunch of years because he was in the blacklist thing.
Yeah.
He was labeled a communist and all this bullshit,
Yeah.
It was, that's how I really, Polikoff, I probably maybe talked to, usually the writer isn't on the set of something very much.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not sure if I talked to him much there. I mean, it was in Hawaii, but my whole family got to pretty much know his whole family,
Yeah. Yeah, he was a pretty interesting guy, though, but I'm glad I got to talk to him.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's an interesting little show. I mean, what is your focus primarily? I mean, that's a pretty obscure producer writer of some pretty obscure movies.
Yeah, well, I've always liked The Vows. I watched it when I was a kid, and just like when I first started this podcast, it was horror and sci-fi oriented, and then I decided not to limit myself, and I interview the most obscure people of stuff I grew up watching. I mean, I also interview people who are known from stuff too, but the obscure stuff is like my passion and stuff. I want to bring it out in the open, for the younger generations.
At some point, you should see the horror movie I made.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I made a low budget. It's called Stump the Band. It's about a rock band of women who get attacked by three guys who collect women's feet.
Really? That sounds like it'd be up my alley. Yeah, for sure.
Hilarious, yeah.
Stump the Band. Okay, I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, I think it's even on YouTube at this point. We did it in 2006. Nothing ever much happened with it, but it's pretty funny.
Okay. I'll check to see if it's on YouTube. Yeah. You guest starred on Bronx. Do you have a Jack Palance story?
Just a super great guy to work with. And I was already a Jack Palance fan, probably because of some vampire movies he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where, I was with horror movies. I still am. But, that's probably like where I was like, oh my God, I get to work with Jack Palance. And I mean, again, I was really young. I've got to be maybe 10, 12, maybe, if that. So,
yeah.
It's going on a long time ago. But what I noticed in doing this, and, it's something that I kind of carried around with me when I was doing whatever jobs I was working on. But the people who seem to have the least amount to lose, meaning, they're already successful,
mm-hmm.
They don't have to prove anything to anybody, they tend to be the nicest people.
Yeah.
Most of the assholes I ever met doing this were people I met either on their way up, usually, and then some people on their way down for the first time.
Oh, yeah, because the bitter...
That's kind of the nature, that's the shape of how this business goes. You're just cranking, and then nothing. And then you're like, oh my God, this is amazing, and then nothing. So the first time up, the first couple times up, I think is pretty. It kind of goes after your ego, and then the first couple times down go after your ego in a different way, and I think it wrecks some people, and then after a while you're like, oh, I'm meant to be a dick. Okay, then I'm not going to be. And so then you end up with Jack Palance, who's super cool, the cast of the Very Dozen Wonderful Show. Those people are all awesome.
Yeah, the bitterness on the way down, that's a recurring theme on this show. I've met a lot of bitter people, and it breaks my heart because they're so talented, and they don't realize, the fan base that they have,
It's a tough thing, though, when, entertainment, just chews people up and spits them out all the time.
Yeah.
And if you think about all of, there's been a ton of actors through history where people were like, this is going to be the next big thing, and then nothing. And I think for the person experiencing that, I describe a life in entertainment as having this really terrific relationship with someone who you have this incredible connection with, and you finish each other's sentences, and you laugh at the same stuff, and everything would be as perfect could be if they would just stop having sex with all of your friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you keep catching them in the act, and they won't stop making eye contact with you, and they're going, pretty fun, right? How's it going? So it's you have to really gird your loins in this line of work, because no matter how successful you are, you're going to get kicked in the nads.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
How about, you mentioned before $6 Million Man, but you got to do the Bionic Woman.
Yeah, that was awesome. Are you kidding me? I had such a thing for Lindsay Wagner at 8.
Yeah. You got there's one episode with Tippi Hedren. And
yeah, vaguely. I mean, you probably watch this stuff a lot more than I do. I'm watching other people's stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, James Karen was in one, and Jack Stoffer from Battlestar Galactica. Wow.
I can't believe James Karen was in one. Really, I love that guy. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I go and look through my IMDb page, and one of the things that we still have a few of them that exist out there in the world, but there used to be an entire subculture in acting of these character guys like James Karen,
mm-hmm.
Who they were in just a crap ton of stuff. And you have people like that today, but they're not like institutional character actors where like decade after decade you keep seeing them showing up. And I think those people, they're the backbone of at least that industry that was around at that time. I think the industry's completely changed, so it's now another thing. But back then, I miss all of those character actors. They did, it's like, General Worthington, here he is, he's back, it's that guy, Well,
yeah.
Somebody should write a book called, oh my God, it's that guy. Those are my favorite actors.
I believe there's a documentary like that with that name. I think so.
Well, you should. It's such a cool, it was such a cool subculture of all of these, people that were, you just keep seeing them. And then, I don't know, everything changes. So.
Yeah. I just interviewed Joyce Bulifant.
Love her.
Yeah. And you worked with her and Herb Edelman on Big John, Little John.
Yeah. Speaking of, excuse me, Herb Edelman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna drink water. Excuse me. Yeah, Herb Edelman, speaking of people who are those character actor people who show up in things and you're like, oh shit, it's that guy.
Yeah.
He's a perfect example of that. And so much talent. Like, he's one of those, like character actors are utility infielders.
Yeah.
they're called in or like pinch hitters, or they're called in, that kicker for football. They're called upon to do a very specific thing, and the thing is, these people are so good at what they do that they can walk into a set of nobody on there knows who they are. They don't know most of the actors usually, and they have to come in and they have to knock the thing out of the park. And if you think about the amount of people, and my wife is a huge Golden Girls fan, so that thing is on with some frequency, and that show is a character actor clearinghouse. It was like character actors death waiting room, because I think all of the character actors that were on Golden Girls, they did that episode and then they died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There was a bunch of them. But yeah, I mean, every week, all of those people that were guesting on that show, they've been on television since the 50s.
Yeah. Even Burt Reynolds was on that show.
Wait, who was?
Burt Reynolds.
From?
He was on the Golden Girls.
No, Bill Reynolds, yes, but what was he on before that?
No, Burt Reynolds. The movie star Burt Reynolds.
Oh, wait, Burt Reynolds, the actor.
Yes.
Did a Golden Girls? Did he? No.
He did do a Golden Girls just before, I think it was just before he did that show, Evening Shade.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a little bit more, I would say, rather than character actor, that's more stunt casting.
Stunt casting, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's still, at that time, he's still a major star. Right. I don't know if he's he was always sort of a leading man type. He was the quintessential 70s movie star.
Yep. Macho.
He definitely sort of, he paves the way for Magnum P.I.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How about, the Mary Tyler Moore Show, did you have a good experience working with Ted Knight? Because I heard a lot of people didn't.
I mean, all of it. I mean, yeah, again, that was a crew of people. And this is, I think I can say this about the Brady Bunch, too, is that, at the time I show up, that show had been on for 5 years. I think Mary Tyler Moore, 4 years, whatever it was. And so the cast, they were all, comfortable with each other, and it was it was just a bunch of pros going to work, Played a lot of chess with Ed Asner, and what is it? What's her name? The one who played Georgette. Her name is
Georgia Engel.
Georgia Engel. Yeah, Georgia Engel.
Yeah.
Unbelievably funny. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Not just the dumb blonde character you see on television. That woman had the filthiest mind of anyone I'd have ever met. And
really?
She said things in the presence of a 10-year-old boy that had him in stitches.
Really?
Yeah.
It's funny.
And now I can't remember all the bits and stuff, but I remember frequently just sort of standing next to her going, she just said that,
Yeah, well, most women who have little voices, they have quick minds, and that's what I got from interviewing Joyce. I mean, she wasn't filthy by any means, but she had a quick mind, She's just really funny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's funny that, she's kind of she's like the Pete Best of the Brady Bunch.
Yeah. Yeah, she almost played Carol, yeah. She told me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I told her, I said, it's funny, she went from playing Gavin MacLeod's wife on the Mary Tyler Moore Show to playing Jill Whelan's mother in Airplane, who was Gavin MacLeod's father on The Love Boat. And she said to me...
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and she said to me, right, it's very incestuous, isn't it?
Hilarious. No, she was super sweet to work with. On Big John, Little John, the guy who played the son character, Mike Darnell, are you aware of this?
No.
Darnell started reality television.
Oh, okay.
So Mike Darnell, the guy who plays the son on Big John, Little John, he after that show, he did like one TV movie on camera, and that was about it. And he, Mike I swear to God, there are people out there that love show business so much more than I do, you know?
Yeah.
And Mike didn't want to let go, you know? So
yeah.
Next time I see him, he's a page at Paramount Studios. I was there for a screening or something. And I'm like, oh my God, you know what? We caught up and all that good. And then a little while later, I hear that he has gotten a job with a producer over at Fox Television. He's, producer assistant job.
Right.
And Mike, I don't know if you ever watched the show, but, Mike's back then, he was, a little 13-year-old nebbishy guy who talked way too fast for his own good.
Yeah.
I would describe him as being similar to there's a Warner Brothers cartoon with two bulldogs, a big one and a little one, and the little one's bouncing around the big one going, let's go chase a cat, Spike, let's go chase a cat, Spike, let's go chase a cat, Spike. That's Mike. So Mike was going to this producer, I want to produce a show. Can you help me produce a show? I want to produce a show. I want to produce a show. I want to produce a show. I want to let me produce a show. And to the point that the producer went, all right, look, here's $25,000. If you can produce a pilot for $25,000, we'll put it on the air. And, of course, at $25,000, the producer was like, the kid will never get it together. It'll never fucking happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, can I swear on your show? I just did.
Oh, swear all you want, Robbie.
There you go. So he takes this $25,000 that the producer thinks is not going to happen, and he puts together a bunch of footage of stuff, and it premieres on Fox, and it's called When Animals Attack.
Wow. What?
And then they go, and it becomes the highest rated show ever in the history of Fox Television.
Wow. What year was this?
Then, what?
What year was this?
I don't know, 80-something?
Okay.
85, 87, 4, 5, something like that. Anyway,
Yeah.
So when did Fox go on the air?
87.
Okay, so it was like that within a year or two of its opening.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go, wow, that was really successful. Do you have anything else? And he goes, yeah, I've been working on this idea for a dating show. And it was The Bachelor. So that guy who was on that show with all of those people who operating at a caliber and a talent level that in some cases was, oh my gosh, over the top amazing. That guy changed television more than anyone else involved.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Do you think he gets enough? Do you think he gets enough credit for doing that?
Well, the industry knows who he is. Oh, you bet.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean,
he was the go-to when reality television shows took off. He was like the go-to guy where everyone was like, "What should we do next?" And he was like, "Let me say, yeah."
Wow. Even though the People's Court was obviously acting, do you consider that a reality show?
Well, no. I mean, I understand what you're saying about it, but I don't know. Reality shows to me are fake reality shows. They're shows that say that they're real, but they're not. So the court cases in Judge Judy or any of the People's Court, they're actual cases. They may do it on a TV show, but they're actual real things. Nothing on any reality show ever happened.
Yeah.
Everything on reality shows is fake.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why I don't like them.
To me, like every reality show means that there's a writer somewhere going, God damn it. I don't, and the thing is, most reality shows are game shows and soap operas.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
I don't really have, that's not really my thing.
Yeah, it's not my thing either. How was,
I like a scripted thing. I like to have a moment like, holy crap, somebody thought of that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to get Stranger Things out of 90 Day Fiancé.
Yeah. How was working with Ron Howard on the Time Crystal?
Oh, yeah. I mean, great. I mean, you know, he was young at the time. You know what I mean? He was
Right.
he was young, 20-something. So, you know, there's a youthful vibe to it. Maybe 25, but I mean, he was young, and there was pretty youthful vibe to it. I think it's still super cute. Worked with the kid from Bad News Bears, Chris Barnes.
Chris Barnes.
I remember, if you listen to it, at the time, my voice is changing. And so there are times when I can barely get, like, my voice got scratchy way early. And part of that happened when my voice changed. And so there would be periods where I actually couldn't make my vocal cords do what I wanted them to do. And it's all over that show. And then, like, I think in the 90s, the early 90s, she did a movie called Inventing the Abbotts.
Oh, yeah.
And I was an extra. I'm in the band that's in all of the party scenes. I'm playing stand-up bass in all the party scenes of the movie. And, you know, in an effort to get, you know, lots of screen time, I am overacting my ass off in the background there. So if you see the movie, you'll be like, Jesus, Bob, what are you doing? Yeah.
Are you a bass player?
Yeah, I'm an everything player, kind of. If it's got strings on it, I can play it.
Nice. That's one thing that's one talent I wish I had. My dad is a great guitarist, and he had a band when I was a kid, and he always tried to teach me, but my fingers are just too fat. I can't get a grip on it. I can play one note, and that's it.
You know what? There's a dude, if you look on the YouTubes, there's a dude who plays one-string guitar and sings songs. So your excuse means nothing to me. How's that?
Maybe I can try it again. Who knows? But
do it. Here's the thing. This is the problem with most people starting a new thing. People operate under the assumption that they're supposed to be good at it, and that isn't true. I am so over good. Good is a blind alley. Good. What you want to do is feel joy, and, you know, make noise and feel joy. That's what music is. It's not about, you know, I know all my buys and gazintas.
yeah. What made you transition into doing voiceover?
Lack of work.
Lack of acting?
I was with an agency that had a young people's department, a print department, a commercial department, and a voiceover department. And whenever they needed younger voices, they'd go down to the kids department and they'd go, hey, we need you to read on some things. And then when I turned 18, I had started picking up voiceover jobs, and the VO department said, hey, why don't you just sign with us? And I started working at voiceover almost immediately, and I looked for a commercial. Back in the day, you know, again, everything's different, but back in the day, you go to a studio, you're there for an hour, if that, doing a commercial, and then the rest of your day is free. And you've worked, and, you know, I was like, this is the best job ever. And, you know, to do a cartoon, it's a 3 or 4 hour session. That's it. So like, that leaves the rest of your day. If you show up at 10, it's now 2. Well, I can go rehearse for the rest of the day. Or I was like, this is the best job in history. And so I did everything I could to work at it as much as I possibly could. And, yeah, then, you know, a couple of really good things happened in the meantime.
Wow. Yeah, I used to watch Kid Video when it was on.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I just talked to Susan Silo, who was the She Lion.
Yeah, sure. How was Susan doing?
She is great. You know, she's somewhere in Los Angeles living, you know, and she's just been retired, but, like, whenever something comes up, she goes for it, you know, and stuff. She's a great lady.
Mm-hmm. I love Susan. She, yeah, I mean, I just actually just recently I found out that Marshall F. Efron just died, who played Fat Cat.
Oh.
Yeah, he just passed away, and then we lost. No, I think the guy who played Cool Kitty is still alive. So, but I had no idea Marshall Efron was still out there. I had no idea he was still working. You know, I worked. There was a show working next door to Big John, Little John when we were at the at Gower Studios there.
Yeah.
And working at the same time, there was a show called Monster Squad, which was Fred Brandy. It was a story about a guy who works at a museum, and he develops a machine that can bring to life the wax figures of Frankenstein, the werewolf, and Dracula.
Oh, boy.
And, Fred Brandy was the man, and they go off and they fight crime together. Well, the werewolf character was played by this character, well, Henry Pollock, the character actor, who ended up being in, like, Villains and a lot of things.
Webster. He was on Webster.
Yes, yeah. So he played the vampire, and I forget who the Frankenstein was, but the werewolf was this actor named Buck Cartalian, who, again, he's one of these guys who bounced around the industry forever, and nobody knows who he is, but just done a crap ton of work. It's like the best of both worlds for being in entertainment, because one of the downsides of entertainment are your anonymity goes away.
Right.
If you do work that a lot of people see, it's really hard to go out and do things because you don't have your life. So this is why I like the character actor thing so much. Is that a lot of these people, they just go to work, they go home. I have a friend named Mike McGill. Mike McGill is on Shameless. He's one of the bar patrons.
Uh-huh.
And Mike has been doing this job for, 20 years or something. And he's got just his resume, reads like War and Peace. And he can still go to Ralph's and no one's going to give him crap.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I ended up where we are. Sometimes I just start talking and I just listen to myself talk and I think I'm so clever, and then we end up somewhere and I'm like, well, anyway.
Yeah, we all get like that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
How was working on Iron Eagle?
That was great. I mean, let's see. They were trying to get it done fast because Top Gun was coming right on the heels of it.
Right.
So, and they knew that if Top Gun came out first, they were doomed. So there was a real big rush to get it finished. On the set, everyone was calling it Squirt Gun.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah, and it is actually, I would say, Iron Eagle is more of a jingoistic, conservative, rah-rah film than Top Gun could ever hope to be. Top Gun is really just about hardware.
Yeah.
Top Gun's just really, it's such a high-concept film.
Romance.
It's really about the planes.
Yeah, romance. Yeah. All that stuff.
Yeah, so, but fucking Iron Eagle is like, rah, rah, America, blow up brown people, yeah! I mean, it's the America fuck yeah movie of the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically what Team America is about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't, and unfortunately it doesn't have the fun twist that Starship Troopers does about that, but
I like Iron Eagle better. I mean, I'm not conservative, but I like Iron Eagle better. It's a more entertaining film, I think.
Oh, and also it's very, it's a B movie. It's a pulpy B movie story.
Yeah, I interviewed another.
The guys. I mean, it's so simple. Kids, it's a 14-year-old. How people said that with this.
Yeah.
James Cameron wrote The Abyss when he was in high school, and
right.
those of you who review
Yeah.
You know, Iron Eagle has a very similar kind of, 14-year-old boy wish fulfillment vibe to it. Wouldn't it be cool if?
Yeah.
That's sort of how. That's almost how the pitch meeting went. They all went, wouldn't it be cool if there was like a kid whose dad was a pilot, and his dad gets captured by some Middle Eastern country, and the kid has to go in and rescue his dad?
Yeah. I talked.
Give those boys a check.
Yeah, I talked to Tom Fridley, who was also in it. He's a great guy.
Yeah, I love Tom. Tom's super cool.
Very nice guy. Yeah, and I'm trying to get Larry B. Scott. He's very hard to get in touch with. But
I haven't talked to Larry in forever.
Yeah, was Jason Gedrick good to work with?
Everybody was. We were really, it was a weird. The first 3 days of shooting were a little weird because apparently Gossett was off on some sort of bender or another, and so he didn't show up for work for the first 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, Sid Fury, the director, who did this is all, I guess, this figures into the story. Sid Fury every day is getting more and more like, where the hell is my actor? Where the hell is my actor? He's getting angry, and so they're trying to shoot around him, right? So like they're doing a bunch of scenes with us kids, and they shot the plane chase in the beginning. They're doing everything they can without having Lou there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm walking to lunch or something, and I'm just passing by like a circle of Sid, the director, Ron, the guy who directed it, and his last name, and a couple of other people, money people,
Yeah.
Production, and
Producers.
Look, I worked on Lady Sing as the Blues. I can call Billy D. Williams. He will be here in 45 minutes, and he will be fucking excited to be on the premises. and the producers are like, that's it, I understand. I get what's going on, but we're going to stay with Lou, because Lou Gossett just won an Oscar for Officer and a Gentleman.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're like, no, we're sticking with our star. Just hilarious stuff. I could get Billy D. Williams here in 45 minutes. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Man. Do you remember doing the movie Dirty Laundry?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah. What was that like?
You never saw that, though.
I saw it one time on USA Up All Night when I was like 12 or something.
You ran on USA once? Really? I had no idea.
Yeah, I'm sure that they cut out a lot. I haven't seen the uncut version, but
it's actually pretty tame.
Really?
You would hope for lots of nudity and stuff, but yeah, not really. Kind of, and I say that in a disappointed way because I'm a fan of those kind of movies. So
me too.
Yeah, I'm 55. Even now, it's like I'm watching a movie and like somehow some woman bears her breasts for whatever reason or another. I'll look over at my wife and I'll go, "It's a great movie."
I saw a very rare interview that Lee McCloskey did on a podcast recently, and he was willing to talk about Dallas and some TV movie of the week that he did, but he would not talk about any of the teen sex comedy movies he did.
Pansy.
And this interview was 2 hours long.
It's on the resume. You have to talk about all of it.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I was in the pilot for Revenge of the Nerds. It's terrible.
I've seen it. It's on the DVD.
Yeah.
It's on the DVD for the movie. Yeah. Oh my God, it is terrible. But I have to say that moment with the kid who plays Wormser and he's looking at the boobs is hilarious.
Yeah, for years, a few things. I was a big Revenge of the Nerds fan. I love those movies.
Yeah.
I don't use this word lightly. My worship of Curtis Armstrong, to this day,
yeah,
is deep and very profound. So I'm like, holy shit! I'm reading for Booger. Like this is do this well. All I can do is the best job I know how. So we go into the thing, and I remember doing it going, I think I'm a suckballs actor because everything that we're doing is falling completely flat. And, like, what am I doing wrong? I don't understand. And for, like, years afterward, it haunted me that I'm like, am I terrible at my job? And I didn't know up until right now. And then I watched it when it came out on that DVD, and I'm like, oh, no, it wasn't me at all. It sucks. It's terrible. Yeah. Kind of a bummer. Juliette Lewis's brother is Lewis, and he's Lewis.
I've interviewed two people from the pilot, Julie McCullough.
Oh, Julie, I love her. She's so cool.
Yes, and Nicole Picard, who plays Tina.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she went a little cray-cray on me too.
Wait a minute. Actors. Okay?
Yeah.
Actors. If they were normal people, they wouldn't be talking about themselves.
Exactly.
Actors are all bananas. Look, they are. It's sort of like, behind every brain surgeon
right.
is a raging God complex. Now, you almost have to have that God complex to do the job in the first place. Because
right.
if I'm Robbie, if I'm in a room with someone with their skull split open, and it's up to me to make sure that Junior walks again, I want to hand it off to the nearest person who knows what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
To have someone's life that much in your hands, you have to have a certain kind of ego constitution. So the same is true for actors. And I would say not just actors, but performers in general. Because, see, performers in general are a lot more comfortable with I love you, ladies and gentlemen, than they are with I love you.
Exactly. I've been doing stand-up 14 years. I mean, we're a special breed.
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course, no. Stand-up people, I don't know how much you do it still, but my God, are you an unhappy bunch of fucking people.
Yes.
Oh, my good Lord. Just sit in the green room of the Comedy Store or whatever before watching people going on. Those people are a wreck.
Yeah. Did you spend a lot of time there in the 80s?
I mean, often. I've been around performing a long time, so
yeah.
It's and also in Los Angeles. Are you in Los Angeles now?
I'm in Redding, California, but I started in the Bay Area. I did it there for 10 years.
Oh, right on. Okay. So, I mean, well, then you're like San Francisco. It's like music and theater and comedy and movie, it all kind of blends together after a while. So I know people that do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So I've done my time. I was with an improv group for a couple of years. So we did a lot of Comedy Store work and and I've known comics just, my entire life, and all of them are just, they're so unhappy. That's why that's kind of why they do what they do. Psychiatrists become psychiatrists because they can't straighten out their own shit.
Yeah, well, my generation, not only are they they're not happy, but they're also alpha male bullies. And I had a reputation in the Bay Area for not being very social with other comedians. And it was mainly because of that, because I didn't want to, because I'm not an alpha male, I'm not a bro. I don't want to hang out with people who are just going to trash other comedians and make fun of them and all this stuff, So I got a lot of drama with a lot of those people, unfortunately. But it's just it's my moral barometer. I don't want to sit around making fun of people,
Yeah, sure. I mean, definitely there's, as far as stand-up comedy goes, there's a piss-cutting element to it where, there's a whole lot of, oh yeah, well you're not funny either. I used to be. I don't really listen much these days, but, because, this always happens
Right.
I used to listen to Mark Maron obsessively.
Me too.
But yeah, he doesn't need me anymore. He's too successful. You know, he's not mean anymore. Just there's no fun there. So I used to listen to his show a lot, and you know, to listen to the environments that him and other comics would describe, it's very much one of, you know, you're always needling each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What was the name of the improv group you were in?
They were called the New Barbarians. They were an offshoot of a group that was led by, now if only I could remember, hold on, something and something. Anyway, I met him as a casting director, but he was I believe he was Bartles of Bartles and James.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember. I don't know, how old are you?
I'm 37, but I'm an old soul.
All right, cool. Okay, so you know about the Bartles and James.
Yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it was a wine cooler that somebody put out in the late '80s or in the '80s, and they had these two guys, Bartles and James, and they were of course paid actors playing these characters. So I think it was one of those guys. Anyway, he had an improv group, and then mostly we were just workout, and then we started doing shows at like Comedy Store and stuff.
Yeah, that's back when they used to have improv groups at the Comedy Store. They don't anymore, and it's sad.
Say that again? What?
Yeah, that was back when they used to have improv groups at the Comedy Store, and they don't anymore.
Yeah, I mean, everything changes. The only constant is change. And, improv, it seems like everything is as wide open as everything is getting ghettoized. So, improv theater is a thing. And so, it's sort of like, I talked about the Starship Troopers earlier. Don't worry about him. Mobile infantry and fleet don't mix. And that's sort of how everybody behaves about all of that now. It's like, stand-up is an area. That's it. Nobody really else goes into there where, the improv comedy place in L.A. here,
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, it was comedy duos, it was single stand-up, it was sketch, it was improv, it was, it was really more representative of just stuff that was funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then over time, it's become a lot more just very specifically, I'm one person, I come up, I tell you my spiel, 5 minutes, here's the other one.
Yep, it's all changed now. My dad took me to see all 3 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies when I was a kid.
Sure. Well, you're of the age, aren't you?
Yep, I had everything Ninja Turtles growing up. My 7th birthday party was Ninja Turtles themed. I mean, everything,
It amazes me. I'm doing Judith Hoag's Zoom thing tomorrow.
I want her to do my podcast, and she won't do it. Go ahead.
But so it's amazing. And she wanted me to do a little, little film thing, talking about it, and it amazes me that this year it's 30 years old.
Right.
And if you think about the amount of movies geared at kids that have come out since 1991,
Mm-hmm.
and this one, why the hell are we still talking about it? I mean, I'm glad we are, and I think I know why, but it's an incredible thing to be a part of, that there will, every year, this year, there will be 20,000 kids,
Mm-hmm.
age 7. I think it's a fair estimate. There will be about 20,000 kids this year,
Mm-hmm.
turning 7, and their parent is going to play them that movie, and their mind will still be blown.
Yeah.
And that's, and I don't want to say it's like Star Wars, but it is. It's just like Star Wars because it's generational, and, I was going to
And today's movies suck balls. And that's why people are loving these old movies, you know. I know in my case that certainly is. Were you actually on set of the movies?
No, they finished it. None of them called me in. They shot them in North Carolina.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I interviewed the actor Jay Patterson, who played April's boss in the first one, and he was telling me about the making of that and stuff. Yeah, I love in the second one, The Secret of the Ooze. I love Michelangelo's line when they're doing that little exchange of, yeah, a little too easy, and then you say, yeah, a little too Raph.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I love that. It's so cheesy, but it's hilarious.
The third one, believe it or not, is the one that I like primarily because they had it's a lower budget than the other ones.
Yeah.
And all of the things that go along with that. I think part of that is they didn't finish writing it because there's all of the turtles in this thing. They went, can you come up with something for this line? I don't know what you're asking me for, but hell yeah. Any opportunity for me to improv it up and whiz bang, go for it, yes. But unfortunately, the movie's terrible.
Yeah, I remember when my dad took me to see that one, I didn't like it as much as the first two and stuff. I thought it was pretty cool that they were in a different time, but I was just like, this is not the same without Shredder,
Yeah. Well, I mean, sequels aren't always handled as well as they possibly can be. Are you familiar with the 1960s Planet of the Apes movies?
Oh, of course. I love those.
Okay. So the first one is arguably maybe one of the greatest it's definitely one of the greatest science fiction films ever made.
I agree.
2, pretty darn good. And then 3, not bad either. 3, pretty good. 4, you can see with each one they're spending less and less money on it until they get to Battle for the Planet of the Apes. And the Battle for the Planet of the Apes is a school bus and a Jeep. So I think the same thing happened with the Turtles thing. They just, you got to know what to do with it, I guess.
Yeah, but at least they brought back Elias Keats as Casey Jones. He stole the first movie.
That guy, let's talk about that dude for a minute. Okay, so when they were doing the original movie, whoever the producers were walking through and checking out the work we're doing and stuff, and, they watched a little bit of the movie, and behind me I hear, people going, this guy's going to be the next De Niro. I mean, look at him.
Yeah.
And then, for all intents and purposes, I thought he just kind of disappeared off the planet. And then in the last few years, I'm looking back, and he's been working the entire time. He's been in movies that I've seen, and I didn't know it was him.
Mm-hmm.
That's how good that guy is.
Yeah, I saw him in Harold and Kumar's Christmas movie.
He's one of the best character actors that has ever played the game, and nobody knows who he is, which is also awesome. But yeah.
His ex-wife Jennifer Rubin is a friend of mine. She's been on the podcast a couple of times and stuff. And I mean, he was a very talented guy, but for whatever reason, I guess maybe he was his own worst enemy. Maybe he was difficult. Who knows? Why he didn't become a huge star.
Well, that's the thing about this business is you don't. It isn't about you can't. It isn't about that.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't look. There's a shit ton of Brad Pitts out there. It just so happens that one is the one that's Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, it's a combination of it's preparation meets opportunity. You have to do. I mean, I'm not saying Brad Pitt's a terrible actor. He's really good. Mm-hmm. But everybody's really good now because everybody has access to all the tools to be as good as they want to be.
Yeah, they can hone their craft, even doing, shit movies.
Yeah, totally.
And TV shows and all this stuff, There's all these platforms now. And
yeah, right. I mean, I just the guy who plays Ted McGinley's part in the Revenge of the Nerds pilot, Sean Kanan.
mm-hmm.
I just had him on my podcast. I have a podcast called The Spoon, thespoonradio.com, just in case anyone. We had him on, and he's another one of those guys. I did that Revenge of the Nerds pilot with him, and I thought he disappeared. And as it turns out, he's been soap opera star for like the last 20 years or something.
Yes, and he's known for The Karate Kid Part 3.
Right, he's in The Karate Kid 3, and he also now, you're talking about this platform thing, he's producing a new show on Amazon that's doing really, really well. You were talking about owning your craft. That's one of the things that has gotten easier if you can get in the room with people that will give you money.
Mm-hmm.
But it really is. You can have a YouTube channel. There are all these people out there now who, the guy who does all of the Honest Trailers voices, I'm starting to hear his voice in radio commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's, and it only took him maybe 10 years for it to happen, but, those epic rap battles of history guys.
Oh, yeah. I love those guys.
Amazing.
Yeah. The amount of intensity and commitment that they put into those silly rap songs, I mean, it's amazing, in those videos. Yeah. And they didn't think it was going to last this long. It's lasted over 10 years,
Yeah, the skill that's up there for the amount of money they're doing it for. I'll bet you those things probably cost them, they probably get them done for like 10 a piece, because you have to rent the space and you got to pay the crew, and there's
the graphics people, the graphics people, all of them.
For nothing.
Yeah, it's insane. So are you doing any voiceover during time of quarantine?
I haven't done so much working on that. I just got off of 5 years on Doc McStuffins, which is a Disney Junior show. It's for 3 to 7 year olds, but it's actually a really amazing. It's something that I do that I'm most proud of that I've ever worked on.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a little girl who her mom is a doctor and her dad is a stay-at-home dad, and she wants to be a doctor when she grows up. So she plays pretend with all of her stuffed animals and her toys. Mm-hmm. And it just so happens that every week, whatever malady this toy might have, let's say one of the toys, she says, it's time for your checkup, and the toy goes, but I'm scared of doctors. And she goes, no, but you shouldn't be scared of doctors, because they're just trying to help you, and all this, the show exists to alleviate children's fear, and I'm super proud of that. And we've had, the shows, again, it's for little kids, but there's been a cancer episode. There's been a two dads episode. It's pretty hardcore, actually. So I did a bunch of that, but now, since the business, for all intents and purposes, is kind of shut down for now, mm-hmm. I'm doing a lot of recording. I have a band camp site that I'll be putting stuff up all summer. And then there's also RobbieRist.net, if anybody wants to go find that. But yeah, and I'm also working on a comic book. I'm working on a cartoon of my own that will sort of be tied into sort of the band thing that I'm working on. Mm-hmm. And mostly I just want to make art. I don't know if I even consider myself an actor or a musician or whatever. I just kind of consider myself kind of an art guy. It's what I've been doing most of my life. So, there's the TV shows I do, and then there's the writing stuff I do. I wrote and produced, with the director, I wrote and produced all the pop songs that you hear in all the Sharknado movies.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I wrote the theme song with him and stuff like that. there's a movie coming out on Lifetime this week, and hopefully soon. It's called Another Mother. It's a thriller. Wrote a bunch of songs for that with, again, the guy from Sharknado. And so, yeah, I keep myself super busy all of the time because if I have downtime, I start, thinking about what a waste my life has been and stuff like that.
No, it's been great. And what's the name of your podcast again?
Oh, The Spoon.
The Spoon.
We've got 400. We're coming up on 400 episodes.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah, and then I got a YouTube channel, and I have the Bandcamp. Just look at Bandcamp Robbie Rist and RobbieRist.net, and those are all the current places anyway. And I'm on Facebook and all that stuff, and Instagram. So
right.
And I'm pretty available. It's like if somebody instant messages me, I'm not going to be like, leave me alone.
And how long have you been doing The Spoon?
Gosh, well, we got 400 episodes. I've been doing it for like 7 or 8 years.
Wow, I've been doing this for 3 years, and I got 846 today.
Oh, hey, you know what? Fine, good for you. Achiever.
I'm constant.
We do one episode a week, and we also took a year or two off.
Yeah, I'm constantly just cranking them out.
Yeah, let me just say, our show is about content, quality content. We don't have to put out twice as many shows to reach that level of. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I live up here in the countryside. I'm constantly cranking them out, to keep myself from maintaining sanity, because it's
no doubt.
It's boring up here. But I'll definitely check out Stump the Band if it's on YouTube, and
it is. Yeah.
And I'll just check out The Spoon. I'm always looking for new podcasts to listen to, and even though it's old, it's new to me, so I'll check a bunch of them out and stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Start with the newest ones and work your way back. The first one is hilarious. Originally, it was supposed to be a political show, and I was supposed to run the board. And oh my lord, we leave it up because it's just an absolute, just fucking disaster. It's hilarious.
I'll check it out.
Listen to the later ones. It turns out we end up knowing what we're doing. So.
Okay. Well, Robbie, thank you so much for coming on today, and stay safe up there, and have a great.
Wash your hands.
Yes. Wash your hands, and
no vaccine.
And have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Robbie Rist. Ain't he a cool dude? Oh, man, he is a hoot. I mean, he's a lot of fun, a lot of energy. I like that guy. Oh, my God, he was great. Check out his podcast, The Spoon, and go on YouTube and watch his old horror movie, Stump the Band. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.